I'm just passionate, like all us Greeks.
No, you're angry. Look, you're punching the cat right now.
Oh, I am. Oh my God, you're right. I'm a rageaholic. I just can't live without rage.
Let's roll. The Wicked Wednesday has begun. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the patrons, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between as we step up and in on this Wednesday evening from the Weehawken headquarters with the beautiful Manhattan skyline rocking over our shoulders here this evening. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. A little bit late, but, you know, we got here about 18 minutes ago. It's pretty crazy. You know, we were on the air until about 8-something. And here we are right now at 9:30. There wasn't, you know, you don't get anywhere in this city in 5 minutes either, let me tell you. But here we are. And as I stated, I sincerely appreciate all the patrons, the new patrons. I see we've got Colin P in the house. Nice to see you join the Rageaholic family. Colin P, welcome aboard. Frank Mannion in the house. Junior. Druzilla. Pippi Lockstockings. Bruce Chad. So Babano will join us. Babano's going to join us in a couple of minutes' time. We got the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers on the board here this evening. We'll keep our eye on that. I've got Temple plus the points right now. We got some late night action for you here, though. We took the over in the Lakers game. And fortunately, we won't be ambushed, although I'm assuming it'll probably be Grinch that'll ask us to, where's the stream of the Laker game? What's up, Stooch the man? So, yeah, we're on the over in the Lakers game, and my best bet of the night is the over in the Gonzaga game. The Washington Huskies play Gonzaga tonight. Gonzaga probably drill Washington as well. But I didn't lay the 15.5. We just went with the over. Gonzaga are 8-1 to the over. Like, only one game Gonzaga's played hasn't gone over the number. And, you know, they score like 100 points a game. They really do. They're averaging 97 points a game. That guy, Mark Lathrop, who we had on before, we met at IFBC before, he's a numbers guy. And he saw my pick when I tweeted it out. And he said he's on it as well. He's got Gonzaga projected to score 96 points or something. What up, Sinbad? So, yeah, a couple of late night picks, both overs. We're not on any sides. We've got the over in the Gonzaga game, 2 units, 1 unit tonight on the Lakers and the Spurs over the number. Although it's weird because the Lakers are on this under tear right now, but the Spurs are on an over tear, so something's got to give. You know, it looks like we're about to lose the over the Sixer game with the Raptors. I should have known. Like, after I played it, I was like, man, what am I doing? 229 points, a lot of points. It's not the Houston Rockets and the Warriors here. You know, the thing is with the Raptors games go over the number for the most part. Like, the Raptors usually score in the 120s, but the thing is when they play Philadelphia, it's very, very contested. Like, Philadelphia and Toronto don't like each other. The teams don't like each other. The players don't like each other. Toronto always beats them, so Philly's getting pissed off. They're close games. They're very, very close. Like, Philadelphia is a good team. They're a dangerous team. You know, but they're a team that can, like, take off and do really well. They're a team that can implode. Like, can go one way or the other with those guys. No, Hobgoblin. I just said I'm on the over only. I'm not touching a side. The Spurs aren't playing good basketball right now at all. Like I said, Greg Popovich got to stop worrying about everything else in the world and worry about his basketball team right now. Like the Spurs aren't playing well. They don't defend. They're 8-1 to the over in their last 9 games. Like everybody scores on them. That's the thing with DeMar DeRozan. And I'm a big DeMar DeRozan fan, but DeMar DeRozan's never going to be winning any fucking Defensive Player of the Year awards. Like he plays like NBA defense. Like he's not the worst defensive guy in the league, but you know, he just sort of half-asses it on defense. I don't know, half-ass the right word, but you know, he's not all in. That's what upset Masai Ujiri often about DeMar DeRozan. The thing is, DeMar is going to give you 28 points a night, right? The San Antonio, it's not DeMar DeRozan's fault. The Spurs are who they are. It's Greg Popovich's fault. He's a big know-it-all, and he runs everyone out of town. And, you know, he's like Belichick. He thinks, oh, I can do it with this guy, and I can do it with that guy. I don't need this guy or that guy. Like, Popovich doesn't want star guys around. But the fact of the matter is, you're not going to win in the NBA without stars. It's as simple as that. And DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge are good, but they need a third dude, man. All right, that's the thing. Like Aldridge and DeRozan put up like 55 a night, 60 a night, but they need a third guy. And Gasol's hurt right now. And even if Gasol was healthy, like they need a legitimate third dude. You know, for the life of me, I don't know why they don't just go get John Wall. I really don't. It's, you know, word is Popovich doesn't want to deal with John Wall, but we're right back to what I just stated. You know, at some point, you're going to have to deal with somebody, Pop. Like, it is what it is, dude. Like, if you can't deal with any of today's players, maybe you should go, you know? Like, if it's, well, I don't want to deal with this guy, I don't want to deal with that guy, I can't deal with him. Like, Kawhi Leonard's not a hard guy to get along with. Fuck. Kawhi Leonard doesn't say anything. Right? And, you know, it got so nasty that you saw that Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to play for him anymore. And Popovich sort of showing his true colors now when he keeps ripping Kawhi Leonard out of the blue for no reason. Oh, Kawhi Leonard's wasn't a real leader. It's like, how you doing right now, coach? There's no real leaders. Like, you weren't saying that when he carried your fucking ass to the NBA Finals and he was the NBA Finals MVP. He was a pretty good leader then. And in fact, at the time then, Greg Popovich's exact words were, Kawhi Leonard is a lot like Tim Duncan. He doesn't say much, but he leads by example. Like, Tim Duncan didn't say anything either. Listen, what's up, Sonny? I like Greg Popovich. I think he's entertaining. I think he's funny. I think he is a good coach. I think overall his body of work is second. You know, it's legendary. It's Hall of Fame material. But Greg Popovich is sort of like, you know, Greg Popovich is starting to get to the end of the line a bit. Like, he's one of these deals. I'm not going to say the game has passed him by, but it's getting to the point where he's just old and grumpy, right? You know, and he's right about a lot of things he bitches about, but it's not the point. It's like, dude, like, you're supposed to be running this team, man. It's like you keep waiting for the Spurs to make a move. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. You're the San Antonio Spurs. Like, you're Greg Popovich, you're the Spurs. Spurs fans expect a certain level of excellence here, and you're just not delivering on it. You know, like, you're not doing enough. Like, you lost Kawhi Leonard. You did a hell of a good job to get DeMar DeRozan out of it. But what did you do after that? Like, DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard isn't an even swap, right? Like, Kawhi Leonard is an impact fucking, you know, defining franchise player. Like I said, like, they need one more guy. Like, how the hell are the Spurs going to compete with these teams? They can't even compete with the Lakers. Fuck, they're fucking 8-point underdogs tonight against the Lakers. Like, for the Spurs to win games, they need DeMar DeRozan to score like 42 points and LaMarcus Aldridge to be like 24 points and 19 boards type thing. Like, they, you know, I mean, time, and you're putting a lot of pressure on them. And DeMar and LaMarcus are going to get worn out like playing like this. Like I said, the Washington Wizards want to trade fucking John Wall. John Wall is an elite player. John Wall is a load to deal with. Yet, you know, he's not, like, John Wall's not a bad dude. You know, he doesn't get along with the people in Washington. Yet, so what? Like, fucking, you know, Kelly Oubre Jr. is a head case too, right? Like you look, Bradley Beal's a weirdo. Like they're all straight. It's a bad fit in Washington. Like they're not bad guys in Washington. They just can't be in the same room together. But the thing is, the Washington Wizards don't want to trade Bradley Beal. They prefer to get rid of Wall, and they're going to break it up. The only thing is, one thing with the Wizards is it seems like fucking, they're a weird team, man. Like they rattle off like they hate each other, and then they'll win 4 games in a row, but they still don't like each other. But then they start winning, and then you're like, well, if they fucking just shut up, they can win, but they don't shut up. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a little underwhelmed with Popovich's like big vision here. So this Raptor game, it's 73-73 right now. Raptors are getting all they can handle. Problem with the Raptors is right now they're overinflated their numbers. Like, look, they're on ESPN all the time now. It's like I'm seeing the Raptors as much here as I ever did in Toronto. Like, it's pretty cool. It's annoying and cool at the same time. It's sort of like an underground band that you like that suddenly is popular and it's annoying, or a restaurant you went to and now suddenly there's like lines. That's the problem with the Raptors. I liked it when no one respected them, and the point spreads, you got value with the Raptors. Like, remember we used to complain, oh, the Raptors are never on fucking TV. They're never on national televised games. It's like, well, now they're always on national televised games. And they're also always big favorites. They were 8-point favorites against Golden State Warriors. They're 6-point favorites against the Philadelphia 76ers. They should have been 3-point favorites. Like the Philadelphia 76ers are good, right? Like the Raptors are just overinflated. They're a tricky team to bet on now. You got to be careful betting the Raptors. The best spot to bet the Raptors is when they're on the road and they're not favored by as much, because the Raptors are pretty much as good on the road as they are at home. And, they're not laying as much as they do at home. Now, I'll be going to the Raptor game in 2 nights from now. I'm looking forward to it. Our first the reason they want to keep Beal over Wall is Beal is younger than Wall, and Beal's contract is better than Wall's. Like John Wall is better than Bradley Beal, right? But that's not the problem. The problem is John Wall makes a lot of freaking money, man. Right? Like John Wall is one of the highest paid players in the league. And another thing is John Wall is the bigger problem in the room than Bradley Beal is. That's why they want to keep Beal too. Like not everyone does, not everyone just hates Beal. No one seems to like John Wall on that team. But as I stated, it's like judging the Raiders or something. The Wizards are like, they've always been this way. Gilbert Arenas pulled a gun on one of his teammates fucking this room once. Like I said that like last month. I said it's to the point with the Wizards where like they're going to have to be concerned that someone's going to fucking do something crazy. That was a great week though. Fuck. Like basically everybody's told everyone off. Everybody told the coach off. Fucking everyone's fighting with fucking Wall. Bradley Beal told the fucking general manager to go screw himself and started ripping the owner. Fucking, like they're pretty dysfunctional, but they're a fun team. I think they're rolling tonight, or was it last night? Whatever. They fucking racked up 1 million points. But man, yeah, good job, Jazz. Yeah, if you guys are new to Patreon and you're wondering who are, it's a troll-free zone except for Jazz, of course. Thank you. That we Jazz, we would expect this from Bruce, Chad. I hate to say this. All right, that's acceptable. But I was going to say, I hate to say this, but Jazz is turning into Bruce Chad. Bruce Chad went through his trolldom phase too. And Bruce Chad's gone through late for the show. Like Jazz is turning into Bruce. Jazz Chad. Jazz Bruce. Jazz Chad. Another strong morning after today. I think Jazz Chad's the best one. Lyle Lanley. Yeah, strong, fun show today. We're raising it up a notch, although you know, cancellations are high in this industry. But I can tell you right now, we have Stuttering John, who's pretty much, that's locked in. Like Stuttering John's confirmed. And we've got Ice Cube, which, you know, we'll see. Fuck, I'll believe it when he gets on the line. But as you've noticed, we've had a lot of black actors and actresses on. Fucking Rudy from Cosby Show. Who was the other fucking chick? We had some other actress on. We had the fucking dude to play David Justice. So it's like the same agency. So now they're throwing us Ice Cube. So between Stuttering John and Ice Cube, one of them will come through. Yeah, I think Stuttering John's got a book out where he's ripping everybody. All those Howard Stern guys. All those Howard Stern guys are all bitter right now. Oh, Vivica Fox. Thank you, Gino. Yeah, all the guys that are on the Howard Stern show, all like the sidekicks, they're all sort of like, none of them talk to Howard Stern anymore. They're all like, and now they're all like, you know, they're writing tell-all books and stuff. I don't know what they expect. Like, it's not like Howard Stern became popular by being a nice guy. You know what I mean? It's like these guys ripped the shit out of people for all these years. And then they're surprised that they're on the outside looking in. All right, so Babano is going to step up and in momentarily. As I say, I'm just getting settled in. We just got back here. Another night we did Sports Rage Against the Machine. And yeah, you know what's crazy though? Corey's not going to be in on Friday. So of all days, if we get Ice Cube, Corey won't be there. Of all days, Corey's got some stuff to attend to Friday morning, I believe, Friday afternoon. Yeah, where is Chris Edge? Chris Edge is a Patreon. So it's not like Chris Edge isn't a Patreon. So I don't know. He must be busy. You know, it's a little earlier on the West Coast. Like Chris Edge is around on weekend shows. Like Chris Edge is around. Like Chris Edge is a Patreon. Yeah, the mayor's got some prior commitments. You got to do what he's got to do. What he's got to do. Exactly. Edge was here last night. Yeah, listen, Howard Stern. I tip my cap to Howard Stern for being for his popularity and what he accomplished, but you know, it's never really been my thing either. Like you know, Like I've always liked Jim Rome better than Howard Stern. You know what I mean? Like I'm not one of these, oh, Howard Stern's a god type of dudes. Howard Stern's very good. He was very good at what he did. I haven't heard him in years. But yeah, like when Stern, like Drew says, when Stern got the new wife and shit, I don't know her name. Is that the chick when he left, when he got the new chick or whatever? Or, you know, whenever he got like real, I remember when his daughter got older too. His daughter was like topless in some fucking play or something, some off Broadway, you know, hipster thing. Somebody took a picture of it and they put it out there and people were talking about Stern's daughter's tits and shit. And Stern fucking went ballistic. And I thought, I was like, man, it's pretty comical for somebody that's been fucking putting other chicks' fucking daughters on fucking Sibians on your fucking show for the last fucking 20 years. It's like, dude, you got popular by being sleazy to people. And like, it, you know, he didn't like it. He didn't like it when like it was the other way around. Give me a second here, and we'll get a battle on. But I can tell you a funny story about Howard Stern. And Howard Stern came on. Howard Stern came on in Montreal. It was a big deal when Stern was really popular and shit. It's like years ago. So Stern came on in Montreal when he was on AM radio and shit, or FM stations. And he went on an FM station in Montreal. And he literally lasted like a fucking week, all right? And it was Quebec he pissed off. Fuck, he pissed off Canada. He violated the CRTC. Like, I knew it was going to be a problem. I was surprised. I was like, Shom FM is going to fucking air at a Howard Stern show. I was like, this ain't going to end well. And it didn't right away. And they got sued and shit, all right? Like, Stern got the station sued. It was like a big fucking deal and shit. So, you know, like a year later, man, I'm on the radio and it's the same network. Fuck, all right? It's the same, like, it was the same building. It was the same everything. I got suspended, and the manager, fucking guy, he told me, he goes, I've been in the business 40 years. He goes, I've dealt with everybody. He goes, I just dealt with Howard Stern, fuck, personally. He goes, I had to deal with Howard Stern fallout. And he goes, you've caused me more grief than Howard Stern ever did. I took that as a big compliment. Fuck. I was like, oh, wow. The guy told me, he goes, you caused me more grief than Howard fucking Stern ever did. I'm a Raptor fan, but we're not getting this total, so. Man, I never know what channel anything is on. There we go. All right, good. Low-scoring game. Temple's winning 33-31. We're on Temple plus the points. They haven't beaten him since 2012, guys. This would be big. Like, I'm worried about Villanova going on a late run. The 33-33. See, 7-0 run for Villanova. Temple always choke against Nova. And 8 points. We're not getting that many points at 8 points here. Very concerned. Temple's got to stop this bleeding, keep this game close. Otherwise, we're going to blow the cover. I don't want to go in. I don't want to go in to tonight 0-2 because we're not hitting this Raptor over. So I don't want to go into tonight 0-2 with the 2 late games, needing the 2 late games for a split. Let's go 1-1 here and go into tonight and go 2-0 and then finish 3-1. No, I enjoyed the Howard Stern show. Like I said, you know, when it was on the radio, it was one I just started because I was on the Team 990. So this was about 16 years ago or so. I don't know if you guys remember. Like Stern was big everywhere. He wasn't on Sirius yet. It was right before he was on Sirius. I sort of followed him. That's why I got people in Canada and shit. They were like, fuck, Morency's like the Stern. You know, because I was in Montreal on the Chum shit, and then fucking right after I went to Sirius too. When Stern went, I went to Sirius not long after. Only difference is they gave him ownership of the company. They gave me some money, but it wasn't Sirius that paid me. It was the score. See, that's crazy, Drew. That's what I'm saying. I got to be honest, too. Between Howard Stern and Scotty Farrell, we did get a lot of listeners, too. Like, we were on 186, and Stern liked it. Like, Stern's people, whatever. They were like, yeah, we'll move you right near our network and shit. And it really made a big difference when we moved to fucking 98, wherever we were on, from fucking 186.
Seen it covered. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Hold up. Why would anyone steal turf? Harry, do you know why anyone would steal a large batch of turf? No, no idea. We are farmers. That wasn't bad enough. And your insurance won't replace that with appreciation. Your insurance won't replace your car. What good is it? You better off saving your money and with new car replacement. If your brand new car gets totaled, the mutual will pay you kind about plus depreciation. All
right, just give me a minute. We'll get Babano on. What's up, Scuba Steve? Colin P in the house. So we got 49 viewers right now. Nice, a troll-free 49. I think we're at 106 people. 106 patrons. Let's see, are we at 107? No, 106. We got that initial rush, but there's a few there. I've had a few people tell me they're signing up over the next couple of days, and then we'll get that second push again and shit. Pretty good though. Nice jump, man, up to 106. All right, so here I'll get the link over to the banner here. All right, 37-33 Temple. Cardano just tweeted a picture of me as Dr. Evil. I really do the same thing as him. I've never seen the movie either. I've never. That's good stuff. All right, Bano. It's too funny. I just retweeted it. 38-36. Come on, Temple. Choking to death. Damn. All right, so if you're just joining us, like I said, I'm on Gonzaga and Washington over the number. As you see, I'm drinking this new Smart Water stuff. Can't believe I'm falling for it, but it actually is better than regular water. There's extra something in this stuff. And I don't know if you saw me talking about this on the morning after. It was a pretty cool topic. It was about hangover cures. So it was about a guy in Toronto, actually, of all places. It was in the New York Post, too. It was a guy in Toronto. He got fucking shit-faced for a year and a half. He did for real, too. He got wasted for a year and a half. Sort of like that Super Size Me guy. You know, like McDonald's. Eating McDonald's every day. So this guy got smashed. And he basically, like, he documented it all. Like, he's a professor. So he's a booze bag. But so he documented, like, he wrote down, everything was documented. So he drank, this is what he drank that night. And then, you know, he would write down, all right, hangover, like, you know, like certain liquors are worse. He's like, this one's bad, really bad hangover. And I took this to cure the hangover. Did it work? And he did this for a year and a half. So he did, like, you know, like literally, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of different things. And he tried everything. He tried from like crazy things, like urban legend things of like eel eyes and sort of like disgusting things, to like real medical things. He tried everything. And what he came up with is, it's kind of complicated. That's the whole thing. It's not easy. So it's not like, oh yeah, all right, just do this and, you know, you don't get a hangover. It's this thing called NAC. And the thing is, I don't like the sound of it. Yeah, you got to take, it's like they give you it in hospitals for people with like chronic, like alcoholism and liver disease and stuff. And you got to take 1,500 milligrams, but you can't take too much. It's like, you know, it's not fatal if you take too much, but it's just, you know, you're all wasted and shit. Like the night before you go to, you know, you pass out, or in the morning, you're like, you know, take this. And so long story short, vitamin B, vitamin B is vitamin B is the big thing, which I didn't know. Like, so it does help supposedly. If you take like vitamin B tablets or like you crank, like there's like 3 different types of vitamin Bs, and it really does, that vitamin B does fight fucking dehydration. So the vitamin B thing is good. So that, you know, basically if you have vitamins in your house and you're looking, you know, it doesn't kill you to take vitamin B, pop a bunch of them before you go to sleep. And there's this other thing called frankincense. I'll get into it. I'll read the exact thing. So this guy's a booze bag. He fucking says these things. And then they took it to a doctor at New York University or Manhattan University, whatever. And the doctor like fucking basically discounted a lot of his shit. He said that basically the NAC shit doesn't help a hangover. He said it helps you if you're you have liver disease. Like, he goes, it's not an instant hangover cure. It's more of a preventive whatever. So he said, that's just stupid. And he says, pointless. And he went through the different things, and he basically stated, you know, you can take that fucking thing. You can take a bunch of B12. You know, he said you can take all the vitamin B you want. He said you could also just take 2 fucking Tylenol. He basically said Tylenol has the same effect and a better effect actually than the vitamin B did. So the doctor was pretty hardcore. He went through each thing, and the doctor basically stated that coconut water is the way to go. Coconut water. Like, I didn't know that, right? So yeah, he said, the doctor said drink 2 liters, a lot. He said if you fucking really hungover, he said you got to drink 2 liters. If you get really hungover, he said drink 2 liters of coconut water before you go to bed. So I never used to do it, and I get really bad hangovers. That's why I'm interested in this. I get really bad hangovers. But my hangovers are definitely much better now that I've learned my lesson. And I drink like fucking a shitload of water, no matter how wasted I am. Before, I'd be like, I'm wasted. I don't want to drink water. And fucking, I'd even have a hard time drinking. I could drink booze, but I'd drink a glass of water. I was like, that's enough. I was like, that would help. But no, you got to drink liters and shit. Like, so like the other day, like even when I drank the wine, I wasn't that bad. I drank 2 bottles of wine. I wasn't really hungover. I was hungover. I was tired, but I wasn't like violently hungover because I literally drank like fucking 2 bottles, like liters of water before I went to sleep. I just downed them. Bang, 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 bang. It makes a big difference to kill the dehydration. Let's bring in Babano. We'll see if Babano has a cure for hangovers. What's up, Babano?
Yeah, water works for me, Gabe. I don't know if the coconut. I do know coconut water's got a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, though. So
I want to get the cure,
which makes it maybe a better option. I don't know, but I know if I pound 2, 3, 4.
Hold on, Babano.
Oh, intro.
From Hamilton, Ontario, Ian Cameron. All right, Babano. So, but thing is, Babano, you're really just a beer drinker, right? You don't really drink a lot of hard shit, right?
There was a time like 5, 6 years ago, like I would have shots of whiskey or rye or vodka weekly, and more than one. I'd have like a bunch. Those days are long gone. I can't do it anymore. I can do it on special occasions. I'll wind back the clock. Someone's birthday, a big win for one of the teams we're cheering for. Like if we're at a Ticat game, we come back, we want to do a shot or 2 in celebration. Yeah, sign me up. But I can't be one of those guys chugging and chugging and chugging shots all night long. Can't do it anymore. The system will just shut down, and it's not going to be a good reaction on my end.
Yeah, you know, I've never been a massive shot guy. When I'm drunk, I'll get into the fucking Jägermeisters late at night sometimes, which is a big mistake. That really, really, like you said, it's fucking, the clearer liquors are better, basically. You know what I mean? Like the gins and the vodkas and the rums. Like, and if you drink the higher quality ones, that you get less hungover too. Right? There's a lot of little tricks here. So let me find this here. Fucking it'll help people. Because I know we have a lot of drinkers here.
Well, that's the thing, Druzilla. You're right. That night at Shoeless Joe's, we were there with Jimmy the Bag and company. Yeah, I was drinking pretty hard that night. And even then, I found, even like, what was that, a year and a half, 2 years ago that happened? Even then, like, I've gotten even softer and pansier of a drinker now compared to just then, 2 years ago. Like, it's getting worse. It's like, come on, man. Like,
Well,
first
it's
of
probably
all,
better. It's better for your liver, dude.
yeah.
Like, drinking's not good. It's better to sort of not. Like, that's what stops me from drinking more, because I know fucking, like, you know, most people can go out at night in the week or whatever. Like, I can't think when I fucking drink, dude. Like, the next day I'm in bad shape. Like, I can't think. I'm fucking tired. For me, the only cure for me a hangover really is sleep. Like, that's why, like, if I'm hungover and shit, like, I need to, you know, during the day I'll sleep. You know, I'll wake up, I'll feel fucking sick as hell. I'll fall asleep again. I'll wake up like at 8 at night or something, and I'll sort of be a little better. And I won't be better till like the next day or the day after, really fully better. But like I said, the dehydration part. So I'll just quickly go through this. So this guy in Toronto, Shaughnessy Bishop Stahl, his name is. He's got a book, Hungover the Morning After, One Man's Quest for the Cure. He raised a good point. He says, well, all modern medicine, it kind of sucks that there's not really, like, they never really got a fucking hangover cure down. For the record, the IVs are very good, but they're expensive, and what are you going to do? They're hard to get. Like, they have them in Vegas. The hangover fucking truck shows up and shit. It's basically they fucking hire you an IV. But there's a couple of tricks you can learn here. So he said, disappointed by modern medicine, he decided to identify a remedy himself, subjecting himself to countless nights of binge drinking and horrific mornings afters. He recorded everything he drank on a night out and assessed the severity of his symptoms. Then he proceeded to drink the same stuff another night, but added in a hangover remedy that tracks its effects. It was a process of elimination. Over the course of his liquor-soaked journey, he tried hundreds of so-called treatments. Everything from culinary cures, eels and pickled sheep eyes, to high-end hangover cures and helpers. A pricey but effective nutrient IV, to the classic hair of the dog strategy. He said, pretty much every facet of my health took a real hit. I guess it was 2 years. I gained weight. I had problems with my circulatory system. My mental health took a whack too. But he feels that he found the cure. The hero ingredient, he says, is a high dose, about 1,500 milligrams of an amino acid called NAC. It's a sort of magic ingredient, he says. It helps the body produce a powerful antioxidant called glutathione. Plus, it earns its reputation as a toxicity cure. NAC is used in hospital settings to treat Tylenol overdoses. Along with NAC, Bishop Stahl recommends taking vitamins B1, B6, and B12, which make the NAC even more effective, along with frankincense. Now, I guess frankincense is like in the Bible and shit. I didn't know. The supposed anti-inflammatory and milk thistle, an herb that contains even more glutathione. But Dr. Edward Goldberg of gastroenterologist in Manhattan is skeptical of the hard-earned cure. These supplements are more for chronic alcoholics with liver disease, not a casual drinker with a hangover. He says NAC in this milk thistle shit helps if you have liver damage and inflammation, but it not going to cure your headache or a hangover. He goes, your liver doesn't cause hangovers. Dehydration does. He concedes that the frankincense might help. Although under research, he said it has anti-inflammatory properties. And he goes, but theoretically, all it really will do is the same thing that an Advil will do. So this is what it comes down to. And we pretty much knew this. And, you know, I don't like Mark Wahlberg, but I know the guy's a booze bag. And I saw him once talking about how fucking he was all hungover on a set once. And he cranked Pedialyte. And Michelle Serpico was telling me that's what all of her friends drink. Fucking they're all big drinkers. So it's basically the baby shit, Pedialyte. So the doctor said the best thing to do is drink 2 liters of coconut water before you go to sleep, or drink Pedialyte with water before you go to bed.
Yeah, that's that electrolyte thing, Pedialyte. Yeah, so mix it with water is basically or mix it or just have it with water.
Yeah, I never drank it.
I got to write these down.
I thought it was sort of like the baby. I was just creeped out. I thought it was like the baby formula. You know what I mean? Can you believe this? Temple are in the game all night. Suddenly they're down by the game's tied. Now they're down by 6. We're getting 8. We're not going to cover. They're going to choke.
I have Temple. They better hang on here right now.
Me too. I got them +8. But man, all night we've been covering that. Now till now, I knew this was going to happen.
You got to live with the results like this sometimes in college basketball. I had one of these tonight with Ohio Bobcats all night. battling Xavier, and then they just let it slip in the last 5 minutes.
The ball. No, they gave it right back. Oh, fuck.
Tell you what, Villanova. This is what Villanova does in close games. They've been in so many.
Not good this year, Babano. They do it all the time at Temple. Like Temple can't beat these guys. It's a choke job, man.
Mental block. It's mental block.
It's just a mental choke job now.
Yep. This was their best chance, Gabe, tonight for this Temple team to finally beat Villanova, finally win a Big 5 game against them. They've got a great backcourt with Quentin Rose, Shiz Alston, Nate Pierre-Louis. They got a really, really good backcourt. 3 great guards on this Temple team. This was supposed to be the time. And again, Villanova's sort of not rebuilding, but they're reloading. They've got a lot of new pieces from last year, a lot of big players that are gone from that squad. And they've struggled. They've been up and down, Villanova. And this was their chance, Temple, their best chance. And they might be letting it get away right now, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself too. I was going to take the Raptors in the over. Instead, I just took the fucking over. The Raptors are going to cover. They're up by 11 here. It's just fucking frustrating.
Tell you what, the Philadelphia Sixers came into this game against Toronto tonight really wanting to make a statement. That's all I read from Brett Brown. That's all I read from the players. We really want to come in here, try to make a statement because we know we've struggled against this team, and it looks like they're going to end up with the same result right now. But yeah, when the Raptors are locked in, they weren't locked in the other night. That was not a good performance for them against Denver. They just, they didn't play great. But when they're locked in and playing this way, and Kawhi's playing this way, geez, they're tough. They're really tough.
Yeah, they're Eastern Conference favorites. Like, I don't know about Boston. Boston's got to run in them at some point. Steven's going to get it together and find a rotation that works. But the Raptors are definitely the real deal. There's no even the biggest Raptor hater, has to say, yeah, this team's pretty damn good. Like you said, like when they're dialed in, man, and they're playing defense and everything's clicking, they're next to impossible to beat, actually. Like, the thing is, the Golden State Warriors are still the Golden State Warriors, right? I'll take getting to the finals, and then we'll roll the dice, and anything can happen once you get there. But right now, Babano, let's just, it's going to be a miracle, bro. Let's just get some luck. Like seriously, this game, I warned about this. I said, before you joined us, I said to everyone, I said, man, I'm really worried that like Villanova's going to get a little lead and Temple's just going to fall apart. So I was happy. Every time I looked up, I was like, all right, we're up by 4. We're up by 2. We're up by 6. Like, I'm sure you've been watching the game like all night, Temple have done a nice job staving off Villanova's mini runs. And the game was tied fucking 47-47. Next thing I know, I look up, we're down by 6. Now they're going to the free throw line. We're down by 6. So we're going to be down by 8 in a second here. Because, of course, every time I need a kid to hit a free throw in college, he never does. Whenever I don't want him to, they always do. So I expect this kid to go 2 for 2 at the line here.
Yeah, well, now with college football over, college basketball is in the focus of everybody, of most bettors now. And this is when you start to realize as you get higher volume and you get in more with college basketball, betting it more on a daily basis, the frustrations of betting the sport year-round start to permeate again. Missed foul shots, blown leads, collapses. Team can look good for one half and look so bad in the second half, or vice versa. Yeah. Rarely do you get teams playing 40 minutes. Look at Georgia State beating Alabama last night. Alabama was up 21 at halftime. They lose the game. It's just one of many examples where just teams they're kids. They don't have that focus and intensity, especially when they're up big after a great half. And again, the shooting pendulums, which our late friend Dave Malinsky always said, the pendulum swing when a team is shooting 65% in the first half. Chances are they're not going to shoot anywhere close to that in the second half. That hits too. So
once you lose the momentum in a college game, you're screwed. That's the problem. Come on, hit this 3. Oh, fucking brick. Nice rebound. Don't take another 3. These kids can't shoot. Fuck. Don't shoot. No. Oh, he hit it. Yes. That Alston kid can shoot, actually. Alston Jr. All right. We cut the lead to 5. Babano, I don't know if I've had a lucky break yet in college basketball this year. I've won some games where I won convincingly, or I've gotten smoked, or I've been screwed at the end. You know what I mean? I haven't gotten that. Yes, we win by half a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had a bunch of everything. I've had some bad bets. I've had some great calls. I've had some comebacks that went my way, some comebacks that went against me. So I've had everything so far in a month.
I'm pretty much uneducated with college basketball this year. I'm sort of jumping in here. Like, I pick my spots on a nightly basis, so I'm good. Like, I'm better if I stick to the big time games. Like, I don't have time to cap a lot of this other stuff. This one I did cap, and I know about this rivalry. So, but I'm not fully immersed into college basketball yet. I'd be lying if I told you I am.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really didn't start really looking at it long and hard. Like, I looked at it in bits and pieces in the month of November. First week of December, which is really this week, at the end of last week, I really started to research how's teams done so far, differences, coaching changes, the difference in personnel and all that stuff, system changes and suspensions. And now I'm caught up reasonably well. And this is the first week where I'm really launching in with a lot more when it comes to college basketball. But yeah, it takes time. I mean, when you're in just totally involved with football, for 3-4 months, you don't want to overload yourself. You can't. I learned that now after the last couple of years. I've been trying to do football, basketball, and hockey all at once, and I can't do it anymore. Especially now that I'm doing more shows, it's impossible.
You want to give your guys something in each sport and stuff, but you're better off with that, in my own personal opinion. Just sort of saying, you know what, this is the game in this sport, the way to go. And of course, fucking Villanova just go down and score right away. Yeah, that's the thing. I even talk about it. It's hard to cap every sport successfully every night. Like, it's like playing blackjack repeatedly. Eventually, you're gonna go on a bad run, and it's gonna fucking snowball against you.
Exactly. And the college basketball, it's so easy to have 60 bets, especially on a college basketball Saturday. It is, because there's 340 line teams in Division I college basketball. It's difficult, but somehow, some way, you've got to shorten things up.
Look what Billy Waters did, and what he said that, fuck off. They scored again. We're down by fucking 7 again. We can't stop them. Remember, though, Billy told guys, just concentrate on one conference.
Right.
Told him, I don't want to hear picks from every conference and stuff. He said, it's impossible. He said, you can't cap every conference. And like that, Billy's like the king of fucking gaming, right? He said, you can't cap every conference in college. He said, it's impossible to do it well. He said, just concentrate on one conference. Know that one conference in and out, And it really is true. Like, if you look at college basketball and you're like, oh, one night I'm going to bet this Horizon game, and I'm going to bet the Missouri Valley, and you hop around and you don't really know the flow. Yeah, it's hard to just do one conference, but like, I follow the Big Ten closely. So it's not a jump for me when I'm looking at a Big Ten board, right? Or, there's certain conferences you bet more and you know more about. You should stick to those conferences.
No, exactly. One of the small conferences I focused on the last 3-4 years, at least, if not longer, is the Metro Atlantic, the MAAC, with your Sienas and Canisius and Iona,
and all those guys,
and Riders on the Storm, and all those teams in that conference, that play on Friday night, most of their games. So a lot of Friday games, Saturday, Sunday games, and I've done well in that conference. It's probably been, of all the conferences, probably one of my best, if not my best. It's Metro Atlantic. I focus on it. I watched a lot of the games from that conference on the box here. And as a result, I know a little bit more and can do a little bit better with those teams.
Well, because you've seen their previous game, right, and stuff, right? You're not just reading, not reading something or just capping it. You're like, yeah, I just saw Iona play the other night. Yeah, and I know that, hey, they played well in the last 5 minutes. It's going to carry over. Like, you're like, oh, I saw that kid. He got hurt, right? Like, you just know more. Like, it's basically like, it's like baseball betting. I always tell people that. And NBA's like that kind of too, where it's hard to jump in and out. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a soap opera. You sort of have to watch every day. Like baseball, you can't just sort of say, oh, I'm going to jump in this. It's like, dude, if you don't know what happened the day before in baseball, you're going to screw yourself. Like, how many pitchers were used? Like, who's starting today? Like, you know what I mean? How many innings did they go? There's like there's just so much fucking Temple missing free throws.
58% free throw shooter at the line there, and you're seeing why.
There was just a garbage call too, man. That was all ball. I don't know why there was just a foul.
Yeah, right down to the – well, it depends on when you got it. If you got Temple early, they were plus 10 this morning. That was a really good number if you got that with Temple.
I know. I wanted it that when I told Ken to put it in, it was 8, and I didn't turn back, and I knew I'd get pinched. Watch them lose by 9.
Well, anything but that, exactly. Anything but 9.
Down by 10. Temple missed their free throws, but Nova don't. That's the difference in these games. Like Temple, they're like 50% from the free throw line in the last few minutes here. It's like, when they missed, they hit. Nova are just like bang, bang, bang at the free throw line. Here's another one. Bang. And suddenly we're down 8 again. We're running out of racetrack. Like, we're going to need this basket and a break. There's a 3. He misses.
Now you got to worry, don't foul.
That's not a foul again, man. They keep that should be a jump ball possession. Oh, we're screwed. So we're down by 8. Now we're going to the free throw line down 10. Like, they're going to hit it. We're going to be down 10. Like, fucking Temple. Like, not only do they blow it, like, they got to blow the cover too. Like, just it's so typical of Temple, man.
It's funny, big man on campus who's in Philly and Temple fan, and he was saying on the roundtable this morning, Fran Dunphy can't beat Jay Wright. It's like one of these things. It's just from a coaching standpoint, he can't find the
Villanova. This
can't
is
solve the riddle.
This is their 24th straight win against fucking Big 5 teams. Like, no one in the city can beat them, and they have them, but they just keep choking. All right, we're screwed. So we're down by 10. They need a basket and a miracle here.
Need a basket here, and then no foul after that. Should be waving the white flag. You can't win anyway.
No, this is even worse because now we're going to the free throw line. The kid's going to miss.
Welcome to the end of a college basketball game that's right around the number. There's going to be many.
This happens to me all the time, man. The other night I lost that Indiana fucking over by 1 point because the kids fucking bricked like 4 free throws. All right, that one just bounced in, luckily. The thing is, we're going to foul, and Villanova don't miss. Like, we can't hit this. Like, Villanova don't miss their free throws, and Temple can't hit their threes, like, on the other side. It's a bad combination.
It's because Gillespie's been shooting their free throws for Villanova, and he's like 82% free throw shoot. They just get that next great white kid to play well for them. I mean, it was Arcidiacono, and then DiVincenzo came in. Not delivery, it's DiVincenzo, and now Gillespie's.
Just turn it over. You could have just stole the ball.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Unreal.
How did you not? Look at this. Like, man, like, the ball, like, the kid on Temple just waits for the ball to get to him. He could have stolen the ball, man. Like, he could have caught it. It was like a football player. He just stood there. Hey, here's the free throw. Fuck. Oh, now we're down by 9 again. This is torture, man.
They're going to have to hit one last shot here before time runs
I
out.
really don't like Villanova. Like, they really bother me. It's like, so many times I've lost, like, by half a point betting against these guys. All right, here they are right now. We're down by 10 again. We're running out of shots, like you said.
There's still 20 seconds, yep.
They're going to quit soon. This is it. Take it to the rack. Nice shot, kid.
There you go. Back to 8.
Oh, fuck. We're playing for the push now, though.
If they're going to foul one more time, they might here.
Mm-hmm.
That's Gillespie. This guy's not going
to. They didn't call timeout not to do something. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
They're going to get a foul, and then they're going to hit. We're going to be down 10, and then we're going to get that garbage 3 at the end, and it'll be a break. It's fucking frustrating, man. I knew it too. Like you said, we got a bad number.
Yeah, because it opened. It was 10. It definitely was 10 at the open across the board, and then it was down to. There was heavy Temple money early this morning. Like, it was around 10 a.m. It just got whacked. It went all the way down to 8.5, 8, and it was pretty much sitting at that number the rest of the day. But this is gonna be one of those games.
Discipline and say, you know what? I liked it at 10.5, 11. I don't like it at 8. You know what I mean?
It adds fuel to the belief that a lot of bettors have that you don't bet teams in sports betting, you bet numbers. And this is going to be one of those situations where those people are going to be laughing if they have Temple at +10 and the people +8 and 8.5 lose or push.
It's so frustrating, man. Yeah, we're down by 8. You know, the thing is, on that last possession, I don't know if you have the game on. I have FS1 here. Like, the kid on Villanova threw like a fucking like sort of long distance pass. It was in the air forever, and it got him. It looked like Temple was going to catch it, but kid on Villanova wanted it more. Oh, they're going to the line now.
You're going to need missed free throws and then Temple to hit a shot.
They're not going to miss. They don't miss. We need them to miss both. They're not going to miss. We're going to need a garbage shot here at the end, bro. All right. They don't even hit the rim, in fact. They just go right in. Like, this kid just hit. We're down by 9. They're going to quit after this. So we're going to get the shot. They're going to be down 10. They're going to take a 3. We're going to hit it or we're not. And the kid hit both free throws, of course. Why wouldn't he?
69-59. Here we go.
Oh, fuck me, dude.
That is absolutely brutal because Temple's inside the number the whole game. The whole game, basically. 40-minute basketball game. They were inside the number and covering the number for 39 minutes and what? 45 seconds out of 40?
Bro.
That's awful. It's tough. It's brutal. Brutal beat. Brutal beat, but these happen in college basketball.
We had a clean look, too. And at the end, the kid could have laid it in, bro.
Yep.
He took it to the rack. He could have laid it in and cut it down. We could have got the push. Instead, he kicked it out for the kid for 3. He had an open look. It wasn't a brick, man. It looked like it was going in. It bounced sort of in and out. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I just knew. Like, why can't we get a break at the end of these games? Like, why can't that 3 just go in at the end? Like, fuck, man. It's been like, man, I'm not crying like, oh, I have bad luck, but it's just been like, it's been about 2 weeks for this for me, Babano. Like half points, like football games, like fucking missed extra point cost me in the Bills game the other. Like, it's just constant. Like these half points and 1 point. And if we just would have hit that shot. I said the other night I lost the Indiana Duke game by 1 point the total. There was like 8 free throws in the last minute. Fuck, they went 2 for 6. If they just could have went 4 for 8, I would have won. But no. These kids, like even the Duke kids had to miss. But of course tonight, Babano, guys on Villanova just hit more free throws than an NBA team would have. Like, I don't know, would they hit 10 in a row at the end? They didn't miss. Like, they didn't miss 1 free throw, bro. Like, it's fucking frustrating, man.
And that's the thing. You got teams that are vulnerable as favorites are usually the teams that don't hit free throws or a poor free throw shooting team. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's never ever Villanova. It seems they're always able to hit those at the end of a game. That's brutal. I mean, that's tough. That's I've had several of these already in college hoops, like blown leads, seeing the team cover for the entire game and then not all of a sudden. That was for me with Ohio. Like I said, the Ohio game earlier tonight against Xavier, same thing. Ohio was leading at halftime. They end up losing by 21. I mean, what can you do? They had a terrible second half, and you just got to keep. You just hope those kind of things even out, Gabe. In a long season, you're going to get those games where something like that happens and you're on the right side of it, as opposed to the other side of it.
I know. It's just like I said, it's been a couple of weeks of this, bro.
I know it is. And I've had a bunch of these, like not only this season, but in years past. I'm totally numb to these kind of defeats now, at this stage. I've been doing this long enough now. It's just, whatever. Move on to the next one. Yeah, watching it's much worse. Watching it's much worse.
If I didn't watch it, if I just hit refresh, I'd be like, fuck, I lost by 10. Like, watching this was just painful. Watching the whole sequence. I watched pretty much the whole game. And, well, not the whole game. I saw the second. I got here, and it was like right before halftime. And Temple were winning by 4. And then for most of the time in the second half, they were up by 4 to 6 type thing. And then they were up 47-42. Next thing you know, it was 47-47 and whatever, man. Ends up 67-57.
Kyle Amberg in the chat says the best way to get over a loss like this is get a thick girl next to you, and that'll wipe all the bad memories away. So
they outscored
not a bad suggestion.
25. They outscored them 25-10 to end the game. It was a 25-10 run.
Yep. Terrible run out at the end and Temple was leading this game. I think with what 9 minutes to go, they were still up by like 3 or 5 points. Temple, and to go from that in like 9 or 10 minutes to losing by.
No, it was less than that, dude. It was like fucking 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes.
And I've been involved in college basketball games like this one that don't go my way, and it's like a 2x4 upside that. You're like, what the hell just happened?
Now what sucks is, look, I got 2 units. I got extra. I got the over in the Spurs game. Buddy just missed an open layup on the Spurs. He doesn't dunk it. He misses it. Like, you got to be fucking shitting me. Here's LeBron for 3. He misses, of course. There's DeMar DeRozan. Oh, fuck me, man. I hate needing the games at the end of the night. Now, DeMar misses. Fuck. I hate fucking needing the games at the end of the night to win, man. Look, I got Gonzaga and Washington to go over the number. That game goes off the board in about 8 minutes' time.
Well, I've had nights like that too, where I'm having a miserable night, and my last bet of the night's like that 10:30 p.m. Eastern game, and I got to wait till 1 a.m. and there's no way in fucking hell I'm going to bed before the game ends. I don't care if it ends at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever. I got to know how this game ends, and then it loses, and then of course it ruins my night of sleep coming up. I can't sleep. I'm feeling miserable. I'm tossing and turning. I'm pissed off, and next thing you know, I finally fall asleep at 5:30 in the morning. I'm tired the next day, and I feel like a bag of shit, and I've still got to do the work I got to do on a daily basis, and it's like that bad cycle when I have a bad night. It's a really bad cycle.
That's my life.
Yep, we've all been there. If you're better, you've been there.
I got Brandon Ingram and all my DK lineups. He just got hurt. I got the over in the game, and their second best offensive players just got out of the game.
I should stress it's got to be a really bad night for me to be in that kind of bad shape. Like really, but I've almost lost every bet, and like I'm relying on the late night game to salvage something for me.
Yeah, last night I needed Las Vegas. Fuck, I didn't know I had a bad night last night. I needed Las Vegas to sort of salvage it, and I went to bed. It was 2-1 for for Washington. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh boy. I looked at the score. I'll go to bed. Like I wake up at 6:30 in the morning now. So like that Gonzaga game's at 11 o'clock, right?
Yeah, ESPN2's got that on. It's starting in
I'm not staying up till 1:30 tonight. Like I'm fucking tired. I've been up since like I've been at the studio all day. It's Wednesdays and Fridays are the tough ones. So let's jump into some football here, Bano. So what do you think of this epic clash tomorrow night between Jacksonville and Tennessee?
This poor Thursday night football package, they seem to be going back and forth with one good game, one interesting game, and then one garbage dump fest next week. It seems to be back and forth in that pattern. We had Saints-Cowboys last week. Everybody excited. Very intriguing game, and now you got this pile of shit to worry about. Titans and the Jaguars here on Thursday. I'll tell you what. Jacksonville won last week. I'll give them credit. I think Indy was totally asleep in that game what I watched. I think the Colts were Colts were flat. You know, Colts were feasting on weak opponents for the most part. We're at home for several games in a row. Now they finally went on the road, reading how well they're playing, and I think they got knocked down a peg. And I'll give Jacksonville credit. They did enough. Like, their offense stunk. Scott Milanovic, the old Argo head coach, is their offensive coordinator now. I'm not sure that helped. I'm not sure that Cody Kessler was really any good either.
Fire their OC, they win the game, but they won 6-0.
No, their defense got after Andrew Luck. You got to give at least their defense credit because their defense has been shredded for the better part of the last month. But last week they showed up and they did a good job against Luck and the Colts. But now they're on the road, short week. They were at home at least in that game. Titans need this game badly. They came back against the Jets. Looked like they were not going to win that game. They were asleep against the Jets.
The Jets gave it away. I was watching that game.
They got away with one. They got away with one. Tennessee was every bit as flat in that game as Indy was against Jacksonville. I would only take Tennessee here at about 4.5, 5. I think it's going to be tough for Jacksonville going on the road. Still a team going nowhere, out of the playoffs, disappointing season. Now you're going on the road, and it's on the road where they've really had a tough time raising their game. You think about it, the Buffalo loss. They've had a bunch of road losses, and the Indy loss where they got smacked earlier this season. I don't trust Jacksonville on the road. It's the end of a long, disappointing season. Tennessee needs the game. They're at home. Of course, the home team on Thursday night usually has an edge. Titans are nothing for me.
I lean with the Jags. I like the under. I never win when I take unders, but I think it does go under the number. I think it does go under. They played earlier this year was 9-6. They played last year. The last game they played, it was 15-10. So the last 2 times they played, they've gotten to 40 points combined. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of run. Neither quarterback's very good. I think the defense will step up. And I hear what you're saying with the Jags and being a year that it's done for them. But I think firing people, I think Coughlin has scared them a bit. I think, the Bortles getting benched, I think they realized that Coughlin ain't playing around, and he's not going to accept us just rolling over for the rest of the year. And,
jobs at stake. We may be gone.
Yeah, they have a lot of pride on
truth to that. Yep.
Dudes with pride there. And I always find, I know what you mean. I think you can get these guys sort of in another week, but teams, when they play division rivals, you sort of throw out the record. It's like they're not going to roll over in the same sense they would against another team. You know what I mean? Look, like the Raiders played with the Chiefs pretty competitively because they hate the Chiefs, right? It's just sort of ingrained in them. They played the Broncos tough. Even crappy teams will play the division rivals better. They'll get up for it more so than they would for other games.
Yeah, and they did last week. I mean, maybe that's Tom Coughlin saying, you better play your ass off for the last several weeks of this season, or you may not be back here in Jacksonville on this football team next season. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe there was a spark from Blake Bortles and the ugly sight.
They don't like Andrew Luck, right? They don't like the Titans either. All those teams don't like each other pretty much in that division. It's pretty mean-spirited division. So, Jalen Ramsey doesn't care about the record. It's not like he wants Mariota to fucking embarrass him on national television, and he doesn't want those guys being happy.
No.
I think the Jags show up now. Listen, betting on Cody Kessler is another story, right? He's not exactly Joe Montana.
Cody Kessler on the road now too. That's another thing. Yeah, that's a great point because he was. I don't want to say he was as bad as Bortles, but it wasn't much better. Not much.
Yeah, it feels like it is a teaser game. The game.
Yeah. It does. It's an ugly game. Maybe I would still lay it with Tennessee. I'd probably put them in some kind of parlay.
I'm thinking Jacksonville plus 11 tees to the under.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee to win by really more than they basically. If you're going to get Jacksonville at plus 11, Tennessee's got to win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening.
They're not a win by margin team. They're a win by 6 or 7, which I can see. 14, not so much.
And Stoops is just saying that Nebraska just blew it. So what was Nebraska's lead that you just lost?
Are you shitting me?
Well, Nebraska didn't cover.
This is unbelievable.
What, do you have them too?
I have Nebraska too. This is not a good night for me in college basketball. That's putting it mildly.
What, was Nebraska covering all night too?
Yeah, they were winning by 10 at one or 8 at least at one point. Now they're down 5. Yeah.
Yeah. The Stoots says Nebraska just blew it. Well,
they got big ouchie for me in college basketball tonight. So, but it's all right. We'll move on to the next.
I didn't like the board tonight, college or pro. I looked at the only game I really liked was this fucking Gonzaga game coming up at 11.
Yep.
And I got the over in that game. We better hit it. And I hope I hit this Laker game, but I'm got my doubts here, man. It's kind of a sloppy start. Let's see. What's the total right now in the Laker game, in game? All right, I'll stay positive. I can still have plus units tonight. I'm down 2 units, but I've got 3 units in play here. I got 2 units on the Gonzaga game. I got 1 on the Spurs game. So I can go 3 and 2 here still. Yeah, I know some of you tail this shit, so we can go 3 and 2, all of us. The in-game total right now is 225.5. So we're pretty much, it's exactly what it was at 225. So we'll see. We'll keep our eye on this. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's jump into some of this football because, yeah, I don't go to midnight, even though I say that, and I've gone late the last couple of nights.
Where do you go to? 11:30 now, right?
Yeah, but, on football night, I go till the end of the football game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so Monday Night Football, I stayed on to the end of the game, a couple minutes after the game, and I ended up, it was like 11:50 or something. Last night I wanted to end early, but I started rambling and I fucking didn't get off to like 11:40 or something. But it catches up to me. Like, that was the whole point of starting earlier. So now I'm starting earlier and I'm ending at the same time. That wasn't the point. But I want to give people a bang for the buck here in week 1 and as we get settled. But
that's the one thing I'm liking about you being back on the Patreon side of it and the VIP side of it is I'm looking at the chat and it's such a nice, clean, friendly, fun chat room is back now. We like everybody in the chat, troll free, good people in the chat now. That's what we want to see. And people we know who all these people are too for the most part in the chat now. So that's the best part.
Well, it's getting big that there's like people, you know, there's a lot of newcomers. We're up to 106 now. So yeah, it's starting to expand, and the chat's getting bigger too. I mean, so most, you know, Patreon chats weren't this active before, sort of the same guys hanging around. So yeah, it's cool. It's troll free. And like you said, that was the thing with SBR. It's a fucking troll infested fucking, you know, there's so many trolls on, like, especially like when people have to pay, it keeps the riffraff out with Bano.
That's right. You know, how do you truly love Morency or do you truly love trolling Morency? Which one is it? Do you like his content or do you just like trolling? You know, that's what puts this to the ultimate test. Patreon.
Yeah,
pay up if you want to watch.
I'm not going to spend $20 to troll.
No. Well, then they've really got a pathetic life if they're doing it just for
but I'll just kick them out anyways and keep the $20, right? Thank you very much, Colin P.
Well, that's the thing. If they're going to pay money just to come in here and troll, they're the idiot. We're the smart guys. We're taking your money. We're getting your money, basically. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly right. No, well, people pay. I guess they're free to troll a bit if they pay. But
it's like what I got to deal with trolls on Twitter and Jeff and Donnie too. With we're going to subscribe to Right Wager so we can fade you guys. Yeah, okay. You do realize your money to pay for those picks still goes in our pockets at the end of the day, right? You realize that? Yeah.
Yeah, but you're getting you're getting dragged down by those two in the sense that I don't mean dragged down like, oh, they're holding you back, but I mean you're getting caught in their fucking trolldom. Yeah, it's specifically big man, right? I mean, so he gets people like go.
It's 98% big man.
So you're part of it. You get brought into it, so it's kind of tough for you. You're in a tougher spot, right?
Yep. But the thing is, they're on their own, subscription deal. You get the two of them, and I'm on my own thing.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do. That's why I agreed with it in the first place. Is that I'm going to be able to still do my own thing and put out picks when I want.
I'm sure you get included in some of the tweets.
Oh, of course, always do. Yeah. Some of them I don't block just so I can laugh at them.
I had to tell someone, I'm like, dude, like I told the guy, like, fucking keep me out of this shit. Like literally, there was like 53 tweets, man. It was all about fucking fade, fucking this and that. And I'm like, God,
it's ridiculous.
I don't care. Like, take me out of this. Like,
no, it is. There's a bunch of Jeff Nadu, clone accounts. Fat Man on Campus, Jeff Fatu, Fatu. I mean, it's endless. It's like a cesspool. Twitter with some of this shit.
He's not nice to people either online. So. It's just funny, like seeing, like, everyone wants to be peaceful. Everyone's a dick until they want peace. It's funny after the fact, but yeah, I feel for you. I see that you get dragged into that shit, right?
Yeah, I try to ignore it. I do actually.
Like, I'm kind of lucky. Like, I don't
respond to any of it. I don't respond to any of that shit. Not even.
Like, I really don't have a lot of trolls. Like, I got caught up. Like, I was just sort of there, and like the SBR trolls. Right? They're not my personal, like, fucking trolls. I've got like a few, but whatever. They're not even real trolls. They're just nut jobs. Fucking, they're just nut jobs.
What kind of life does it take to be kicked out of a chat, create a brand new account a minute later, come back in, get kicked out again, create another account, come back in, get kicked out again, create another account, come back in and get kicked out again, and just keep repeating that cycle? It's amazing to me there's people that do that.
Yeah, it's kind of pathetic, but like you said, it's cleaner, it's cleansier here. You feel better too. Like I do these shows here. It's not as emotionally draining. You know what I mean? It just isn't. There's something different about it. Like you said, it's like a private club. So, you know, it's like a bar. Like, you know, the Sports Rate Premium is like a bar. It's like the same bar, but not everyone can get into the bar, right? But it's still a bar.
It's got a very chill, relaxing.
Drinking, but there's more room in the bar, and there's not as many losers. There's no losers in the bar, right? Like it's, you know, that's the thing. I mean, and you know, especially if you're doing shit on the internet, and like that's the whole thing. Like SBR's big thing is let's get hits, get hits, get hits. But the dirty secret is hits don't even matter, bro. Like it doesn't matter. Like all you're doing is giving YouTube fucking content. Like it doesn't. They can get as many hits as they want. But you can't. It doesn't monetize fucking anything, right? It's like I said last week. Unless every person signs up for a sports book, it's kind of a waste of time for them, really. Like, so then you just end up with a bunch of fucking trolls that just want free shit, and it just, you know, you just spin your wheels, really. Like you know, the business model is sort of flawed in that sense that they don't really need the content. You know, they just need to get people to fucking sign up to sports books. But anyways,
oh boy, Dave Pash, and I've just seen Dave Pash and Bill Walton are reunited for this Washington Gonzaga game on ESPN2. Oh boy,
doesn't get better than that.
Bill Walton talking about volcanoes and, you know, global warming and Grateful Dead concerts and the great legendary basketball players and coaches that came before. Weed, everything but the game itself. Get ready.
I remember the day or like the week it became legal in the state of Washington, and they were there, and Dave Patch asked Bill Walton. He said, "Bill," he goes, "I assume you saw the news and about the laws in the state of Washington." He didn't mention marijuana. He just said, "I'm sure you're aware of the laws." And he said, "Did you partake?" And Bill Walton without missing a beat, "Of course I did. Of course I partook, Dave." He's like. He goes, "I visited and I enjoyed all the beautiful shops." And he goes, "Of course, where it's legal, I partake." And I was like, wow. Bill Walton just admitted to smoking weed on ESPN. I was surprised. But Bill Walton can say whatever he wants, right? You know, at this point.
ESPN loves him because he's been doing college games now for like 3-4 years at least now, and people are either love it or they hate it. They either love his commentary or they hate it. But ESPN keeps bringing him back, and they keep giving him these segments and these like comedy little shticks now during games. It's like they're trying to make like a character out of him too.
Oh, he is a character. He's been a character with battle. Bill Walton's been around for fucking.
Oh
yeah. Bill Walton was playing in the '70s. And he had to retire earlier. He had bad knees. And he was a great player, but he had bad knees. And, you know, he became a broadcaster pretty much instantly. Like he's got a great personality. But you're right. It's been the last few years that ESPN's embraced it, and he's turned it into the on-air shtick, right? It used to be cleaner and straighter type stuff, obviously.
I remember when he did NBA on NBC, him and Steve Snapper Jones, and he would just talk about the game. He would, but he'd still be entertaining. He'd still do throw it down, big man, throw it down. He'd still do all that stuff, but now it's like goes off on tangents and about random subjects throughout the entire game. He didn't do that on NBC 20 years ago.
No, you're right. Yeah, he has fun now. Yeah, he has fun, and he makes the games fun too, which is cool. That's the thing with Bill Walton. You know, he's a fun guy. He's got epic calls to Jim Rome show, like the Jim Rome. Like Bill Walton once came on, and Jim Rome asked him one question, and Bill Walton spoke for 17 minutes. Like, you know, I don't even know if Jim asked him a question. He said, "Hey, Bill," and Bill said, "It's a marvelous day in Portland today." It was like during the playoffs. It's a marvelous day in Portland today, and let me tell you, the Portland Trailblazers and the San Antonio Spurs. And he went on for like 17 minutes, bro, without missing a beat. And they were like, "All right, thanks, Bill." And that was the end of the segment. Like, yeah, it was famous. Aaron Bronstetter does a good Bill Walton impression. It's a marvelous day here, Marvin, Portland, Oregon. I'm in the Pacific Northwest with all its glory. You know, like he loves the Pac-12, huh?
Well, that's all. Yeah, he mostly does Pac-12 games.
Conference of Champions.
Conference
That's
of
all he
Champions.
does. Yeah, the Conference of Champions, the greatest conference in the history of sports. More championships. See, now I'm getting into it. I got to listen to him a bit. I used to do it not bad. He's more championships than any other conference. You can look it up. You add it up. Basketball, volleyball, cycling, golf. Like,
of course, cycling. He's a big bicyclist. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like this, the Conference of Champions, the Pac-12. It's like, yeah, dude, you're the Conference of Champions because you and Kareem fucking killed people for 12 years. Like, yeah, but Bill Walton's funny.
No, he is. He's hilarious. Every time I hear the Queen song, Bicycle Race, Bicycle, Bicycle, it makes me think of Bill Walton riding his bicycle. Because he loves it. He's a big cyclist, that Bill Walton. You always see him. They always show him riding a bike when he goes to Hawaii.
Yeah. He's such a funny guy. All right, Bano. So these other games, we can't hit every NFL game. You'll be on the radio this week anyways, too. We'll hit them more. So we got the Falcons and Packers 5. Yeah, McCarthy's gone. Aaron Rodgers better step up here, but they're not better than the Falcons. Like, that's a weird game.
From what I'm reading about that game, Morency, because I want to get a good little thought about what are the Packers thinking right now mentally. What's their locker room thinking about all this? Mike McCarthy getting fired. We're out of the playoffs. Joe Philbin taking over. I don't sense this as a let's band together and all of a sudden, just rise up. I think a lot of them wanted McCarthy gone, but I don't think for Philbin they're going to rise up. They've got some issues with Philbin too. Apparently, from what I've seen in the past, with the way he's been sort of doing things offensively as well. So I don't think this.
And on top of it, Winston Moss just got fired. The assistant coach, because he tweeted out. He knew he was going to get fired after he tweeted that, but he tweeted out. He said, "Hopefully, the new coach holds number 12 accountable." He said, "There's no leadership here, and there needs to be accountability for everybody in Caps." And so I've talked about this. Like, I was bang on. I told people this for years. I said they don't like Aaron Rodgers in that room. And, and there's resentment. I'm telling you, there's guys in that room that think McCarthy got railroaded and Rodgers is a dickhead for making it happen. And Winston Moss is one of them. And Winston Moss was a coach there since 2007. He was an assistant coach, and he's the linebacker coach. And he got canned. So I guarantee you there's guys on defense that are thinking the same thing, that, you know what, Rodgers never gets fucking called out for anything. And, he just got the coach fired. You better fucking respond. Like, Rodgers better have the game of the year this year for him, man. Like I said, he single-handedly did this. So he better back it up, man.
That's what we're going to find out on Sunday. Does he back it up? Does he come out guns blazing, wanting to show everybody, oh, McCarthy's gone and now it's a new lease on life for Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. It's just so many things. I mean, and you're out of the playoffs now. You don't even have that to shoot for. I don't think there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of big. Oh, let's all give Joe Philbin a big hug here. Let's show how much he means to us, and let's go out there and fight for the guy. I don't get that sense from anything I've read. The Packers are thinking that.
Like, Philbin's doesn't have a hope in hell of being a coach. Everyone knows that.
No, they're going to be looking outside for their own coach. So the Packers, to me, that's a game totally to stay away from. I don't want Atlanta on the road either. Atlanta's done. That was a terrible loss for them last week against Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, running the ball right down there. He didn't really even throw it all that well. Most of it was running. And again, an offense that's been disappointing. Matt Ryan and the offense have been disappointing so far. Baltimore put the clamps down on them. So I don't really trust them either in this game. So Falcons-Packers is shit show written all over it. Pass for me on that one.
I'm actually tempted by the Ravens getting a 6.5 against the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson, like you said, dude, he can't really throw, but he doesn't really have to right now. He will eventually. He's going to get hurt, and the teams are going to fucking box him in, and they'll make him throw the ball. But every time there's a running quarterback in the NFL, you can't stop the guy until you stop him. Until someone kills him, basically, you're not going to stop him. Like, that's what happened with Kaepernick, man. Kaepernick went like a year and a half or two where he was just fucking trolling people. And finally, teams said, you know what? Even if you get a fucking penalty, just hit him. Like,
Yeah.
they realized, just fucking hit him. Like, hit him. When you sack him, hit him. Like, when he gets rid of the ball, take the late hit. You need to hit him. And we need to slow him down, injure him a bit, and then you fucking get him. And that's what happened, man. And Harbaugh realized we got to drop the zone read option. Like, you know, they were doing it. That was the beginning of the downfall a bit because they had that secret weapon, the zone read option, and no one ever really did. And people had a hard time figuring it out. And then they clued in, you have to hit Kaepernick. And then teams did. And then Harbaugh was like, listen, man, we can't do this anymore. And then Kaepernick had to stay in the pocket more, and then he wasn't as lethal anymore. So the same thing will happen with Lamar Jackson. They're going to put spies on both sides. And the thing is, he's too fast, bro. He's too fast. He's the fastest kid in the NFL. Like, you can't catch him. So he gets to the corner on you. Even in the NFL, he's too fast to hit. Like, they'll eventually box him and get him, but I think the Ravens can hang around in this game. I think they can trade points, and I think Baltimore's defense can come up with a stop or two against Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore in this price range is a tough team for me to bet. I'm not sure I'm anxious to take them, but I'm not in any rush to bet against them in this price range because what they're going to do, and they've been doing this actually since Lamar Jackson's taken over, is a ball control, run the clock offense, run heavy, and guess who happens to be the worst run defense on advanced metrics in the NFL? Kansas City. So that's going to be a potential thing that the Baltimore Ravens have an edge in this game. They can run the ball, maybe not get points, finish off drives with points, but just control the clock, get first downs, keep Mahomes and company on the sideline. And we know Kareem Hunt obviously is a big loss with everything that's going on with him. And the offense has been a little bit different. I know they still look good against Oakland last week, but you can't really evaluate that. I think there's going to be some kind of change in the playbook, drop off a little bit from what Andy Reid can do with Kareem Hunt that I'm not convinced he can do with Spencer Ware or any of the other running backs on this Chiefs roster to the extent that it's going to be as successful. So, yeah, I think Baltimore in this price range, they've taken some early money. I could kind of agree with it. I would take Baltimore before Kansas City. I don't love it, but I would take Baltimore before KC.
Carolina's lost 4 in a row, man. Unbelievable. Fuck. I was gonna win that bet, over 8.5. Not anymore. 6-6 now. They were 6-2. Now they're 6-6. It's unbelievable. What a collapse. Now they're in Cleveland laying a point.
There's no way in hell I'm taking Carolina. No way. I'm not taking Kakalaki here. They're 4 losses in a row. Now coaches are getting fired, although none of the coaches that got fired this week for Carolina have anything to do with the real problem, and that's a defense in the secondary that is beyond bad. They're so bad, that secondary for the Carolina Panthers, it's mind-boggling. I mean, they couldn't stop any of Tampa receivers last week. Humphreys, Evans, didn't matter who.
Like every fucking pass other teams throw, they completed. You're right.
Yeah, it was awful. It was terrible last week, that Carolina secondary. And here's the thing.
Cam Newton cost them the game. And another thing is, too, McCaffrey, you drafted McCaffrey for a reason, right? McCaffrey's a star. And McCaffrey had like 190 yards last week. Yet Cam Newton kept throwing the ball. And you're only down 7. It was like, guys, if you just give the ball to McCaffrey and let him, he won't fumble it like Cam's going to turn it over. Cam Newton's got a bad shoulder and shit. Like, he's injured. He's trying to play through it. And they know that. So I don't understand why, like, Rivera and Turner just don't say, listen, we need to just give the ball to McCaffrey and not let Cam fucking lose the game here.
Yeah, and to me, Carolina, laying points on the road, there's still people that haven't learned their lesson, because I know there's people that have lost multiple plays with Carolina the last few weeks, and I did against Detroit, and that was it. I was out of serious wager on Carolina on the road after that game, because I thought they would respond after getting blown out by Pittsburgh, circle the wagon spot here in Detroit, found a way to lose. But then I hear people coming back the following week. Oh, here it is. Carolina 2 losses in a row now. Got to win this game. Seattle at home. Seattle coming across the country for an early start. Carolina found a way to lose that game. And then last week, now Carolina's playing this dead Tampa Bay team, bottom tier team. This has to be the spot Carolina rises up and gets the job done and snaps this losing streak. Circle the wagons, and they bet Carolina again. And no, once again, defense can't get a stop. Cam Newton throws more completed passes, it seems, to players with the other jersey as opposed to players with his own jersey. So, yeah, and again they lose. So, yeah, on the road they've been awful, and it's at the point now where you're sick. I'm sick of trusting them. Even though Cleveland, Cleveland last week is still a mistake-prone football team, or can be. Like, they moved the ball against Houston through the air, on the ground. Their offense was okay, but every time they got close to the end zone or the red zone and against Houston last week, they turned it over. And they finally look like they're going to get back in the game in the third quarter with a huge pass play. Baker Mayfield, Antonio Callaway, and Callaway fumbles at the 1 yard line. Houston recovers, and that was basically it. That was the last chance for Cleveland to make a game of that. They couldn't, and Houston takes over. Game over from there. So Cleveland's building. They're getting better. You can see there's talent on both sides of the ball. You got to like Myles Garrett on that defense. I like Denzel Ward in the secondary. I sure would like to see him play if I'm going to consider backing Cleveland in this game. But Baker Mayfield should move the ball against this Carolina defense. I mean, through the air, that secondary can be had. Carolina's going into outdoor elements in December now in the Northeast U.S. with this game being in Cleveland, elements that I don't necessarily trust them in. So I'm trying to build a case for Cleveland. I can tell you right now it's Browns or nothing for me in this game. We'll see. I'll revisit it Friday, but I'll tell you right now, if I'm betting the side, it's Cleveland or nothing here. Don't want Carolina. Not at all, especially on the road. I mean, on the road, they've just not been able to show that they can get it done on a consistent basis.
What's your name? You like Roberto?
Yeah, there he is in the background. I like Chicago. The big game against the LA Rams. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears in that game. You got this great situation here. Chicago losing to the New York Giants. People saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong with Chicago? Maybe the bandwagon's a little lighter on this Bears team after they were rolling along. They had that nice win at home against Minnesota, and then they lose to the Giants. And people saying, what's wrong with the Bears? Well, Chase Daniel was what's wrong with the Bears last week. Okay, their defense didn't play good either. That was a weaker, subpar defensive performance from the Bears, but that was on the road against a foe that I'm not so sure the Bears were, fully locked into that game mentally. Not that they should have been, but they weren't. They'll be locked in here. This is Sunday Night Football. We already saw that when they were a Sunday night game at home against Minnesota, they took care of business, got the job done. The LA Rams, they'll be up for this game, but I'll only take Chicago if Trubisky's in there. And from all reports, he'll be back. He's going to play, so I would expect him to be in there. His ability to run is critical against the Rams because Aaron Donald's a one-man wrecking crew. He can get to the quarterback every week. He's blowing up the line of scrimmage every single week, making some kind of play, whether it's a sack fumble or multiple sacks in a game. Aaron Donald's making an imprint on every game he plays. So to have Trubisky in there who can avoid that pass rush from Donald, make plays outside the pocket with his feet, that's huge. That is enormous, I think, for the Bears to have him back for this particular matchup against this particular defense and that particular player, Aaron Donald. That's going to help Chicago. And I think what's also going to help them is the LA Rams, while their offense is lethal, it's been great, one of the best offenses in the league, Goff, Gurley, and company. Their offensive line has not seen a pass rush quite like this in quite some time. Like they've feasted on some defensive fronts that have not been able to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. That's not going to be Chicago. Chicago will get pressure. Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, of course, are the two guys you think of. That's going to be a test for Jared Goff. We have not seen Goff in a spot, especially on the road, where he's had a ton of pressure in his face and he's had to deal with it. Even in the Saints game where they lost, he still made plays. They still scored. The offense moved the ball. The Saints defense didn't really shut him down. I think the Bears are going to neutralize the Rams a little bit here in this game. We'll see what he's made of on the road. California kid that's now in the cold Chicago elements on a Sunday night game. We'll see, but I think from a situational setup standpoint, it's great for the Bears off a frustrating loss to the Giants back home against a team that they'll be revved up to play against. And let's not forget the Rams have their two toughest road games this season. The New Orleans game, we know what happened there. They lost. And Seattle. That's really the two toughest tests they've had all season on the road. And the Seattle game, they only won by 2 against the Seahawks in Seattle. I think the Bears are live here. Give me them +3.
That's a great game. going to learn a lot about both teams.
Yeah, I do. And again, I think the Rams have done great in their statement games at home. They crushed Minnesota. They beat Kansas City. Great job in those games, no question. But on the road, again, New Orleans, they lost, could have and maybe should have lost in Seattle. Those are the two toughest road games for the Rams this year. And this will test them, without a doubt, playing Chicago.
Yeah, but it's a big test for Trubisky. It's a big test for the Chicago Bears as well. The Bears are good. The Bears have taken advantage of a pretty soft schedule. And this is a big step up in class for them. Like I said, we're going to find out a lot. Now, I said this earlier tonight about the Rams, too. I'm curious to see how the Rams do in the cold. Like on the road in Chicago on a Sunday night. It's a tough spot. Not only is it like, cold weather, but it's at nighttime in the dark, prime time. It's a big spot for the Rams. But truth be told, they're not really going to play outside in the playoffs. They're really not. Like they're gonna have home field advantage, and at worst, they might have to go to New Orleans. So they'll play in a dome. So this is sort of their little cold weather game. But the Saints are vulnerable. Like, don't think the Saints can't stumble down the stretch here a little bit. And the Rams know that they can get home field advantage if they don't fuck up. So all the way through. So the Rams will have the pedal to the metal. I like the Rams in this game. I just think that it's a separation here where the Rams, Sean McVay is 13-2 on the road. I mean, the guy's a great road coach. They've shown an ability to win on the road. They have 13-2. It speaks for themselves. And the thing with the Rams is they're not a great ATS team because their lines are overinflated because they're a hype team. But they win games on the road, and all you're asking is to lay 3. But I understand the Bears side. I do. It's a great game. There's going to be two-way action at the books on this game for sure.
Yeah, I like Chicago. Hey, the Rams could go in there and win this game. It wouldn't shock me. There's no question. And their offense is going to be a test for Chicago's defense for as good as it's been. Their offense is good, but I don't think I've seen Jared Goff in cold elements like this, in tough environment like this on the road, rabid Soldier Field, and a pass rush like this in a long time. When's the last time he's faced a really, really stiff, staunch, really come after you pass rush? It's been a long time. We're going to see how he handles it here.
Hell of a game. Great game.
It's a great game on both sides. I'm looking forward. It's a great, great Sunday night game on paper. Hopefully it lives up to it on the field.
The late slate on Sunday is great. The early slate, there's nothing. You know what I mean? There's we talk about Falcons, Packers, Ravens, Chiefs, a good, cool game. Panthers season's on the line. And Colts, Texans is okay. It's decent. It's not bad.
I kind of think there's value on the Colts, but I took my shot betting against Houston last week, and I'm not in any rush to do it again this week.
So. I think the Colts cover. I think it'll be a close game. The Bills are 3.5-point favorites. I saw it dip to 3 briefly today. At Bet365, I see it's back up to 3.5 now.
I'm on Buffalo there, by the way. That's actually one of my top 3 as of right now, I think, for this weekend. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you
stick a fork in the Jets.
3.
Yeah, 3. I think it's a stick in the fork. They're done game for the Jets. I mean, how do you get up off the mat from last week? That's beyond bad how they lost that football game last week to the Tennessee Titans. Now the rumors are swirling. Todd Bowles is. I would assume he's done.
Todd Bowles is done, bro. Yeah,
he's done. He's got to be done. Like, they know the new coach, the lame duck coach, late in the season that's going nowhere. I know Sam Darnold's coming back, and he's definitely got a stronger arm than Josh McCown, but he's coming off a strained foot. The Bills are still getting some pressure. The Bills are still getting a pass rush with Jerry Hughes.
I think Josh McCown gives a better chance to win than fucking Sam Darnold does this week.
Yeah, and he's got to do that on the road. An offensive line that's banged up, a ground game that's relying on Crowell.
3 weeks coming into Buffalo. Buffalo try hard still. Like, they're not tanking Buffalo.
They're not. There's spirit, there's energy, there's effort. You look at the last 3 games. They're 3-0 against the spread last 3 games.
And Josh Allen's pretty good. That's the thing. He's a load to deal with, this kid. He's raw. He'll overthrow people and stuff. He needs to, he's like a cannon, a weapon. They need to learn. He needs to learn how to control the weapon. But he's running people over. He's got 235 rushing yards in the last 2 weeks. He was the leading rusher in the NFL last week. Like he's a big kid. No one wants to get him. So he's like a white Cam Newton, man, except he's meaner. So he runs people over, and he's a load to deal with, man. He's getting better every snap. It's you see it. It's whoa. Like he might end up being the best rookie quarterback like a year or two down the road. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but he's a good quarterback. And Sam Darnold's kind of stiff. He's not mobile. And it's going to be a problem against the Bills. They're going to get a pass rush on him. Ralph Wilson's a tough place to play with that Bills Mafia nut job shit. You know, Bills fans are used to seasons being a waste, Babano. So it's not like, you know, the stadium's half empty or anything. It's just another Sunday there, right? It's just another reason to get shit-faced in Buffalo. So I think the Bills roll them. I think they show up. They always beat the fucking Jets, too.
Well, they did sure beat the living fuck out of the Jets a few weeks ago, 41-10. Holy goodness. I mean, it was just over it. And that was Matt Barkley. Let's not forget, it was Matt Barkley at quarterback. And they only signed him less than a week before that game took place. It was crazy.
You know that basically if the Bills had anyone besides Derek Anderson or Nate Peterman at quarterback, they'd probably be like in the playoff mix right now.
They'd be close to 500 anyway. Or at least close to it. The 7-3 straight up and against the spread they are against the Jets in the last 10 meetings. They've had a good run of it. I think they get the job done here. And everybody talking about, oh, Kelvin Benjamin gone. He's a liability. He's a cancer. They're not going to miss him at all. Robert Foster, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. Zay Jones, you know, he had some issues upstairs. He's playing really good right now, Zay Jones, you know, at receiver for this team right now. And they got to still get more depth, get more talent into that wide receiver spot, but they're building something.
Yeah, they need. But everything you said is true, though. Foster plays hard. Zay Jones is playing well. Thing with Zay Jones is he's got a good chemistry with Josh Allen.
Yep.
Like they just do. They connected in practice. They've always had a good chemistry. And you see it. Josh Allen looks to him he looks to him and he gets 2 touchdowns. Right, so Zay Jones' confidence is up. That's the thing, too, and it's good the Bills lost last week. It sucks they lost for me at the time, but it's good they lost because the Bills don't win back-to-back games. You know, that hasn't been their MO, and it's almost better. Like, they played well last week. They should have won the game. They outplayed the Dolphins. They got screwed over by the refs. Charles Clay dropped a fucking wide-open touchdown pass and would have won the game. Hoshka missed a stupid 55-yard field goal. He never misses this guy. He missed a 55-yard field goal that would have covered the game. You know, they buffaloed it up at the end, but they're pissed off. The referee called Jerry Hughes a bitch after the game. The referee, it's true, too, because the referee got suspended. So, and Hughes did it. So, you know it's true. So I think the Bills come to play here. I really do.
I agree. I'll lay the 3-3 and even 3.5. I'll lay that with the Bills here in this game. Let's not forget the last home game against Jacksonville. Got off to that quick start, rode it, beat the Jaguars. Again, with these teams that are out of the playoffs, you want to see evidence that they're playing hard, they're fighting, they still want to end the season on a good note. They just don't want to just go out with a whimper. We're not seeing that from the Bills. We're seeing effort. We're seeing Jerry Hughes screaming at the ref after the game against Miami last week, upset with some of the calls that went against the Bills in that game. That's evidence right there of a team that's still trying hard and giving a shit late in the season, and I'm seeing that from Buffalo.
It just goes to the power of how bad Nate Peterman was, that they just couldn't overcome it. You know,
he sabotaged the Houston game earlier this season against the. He totally sabotaged that thing. They can win that game. They probably do win that game unless
the Bills win that game. They would have been 3-3. And the Bills had an incredibly tough schedule. And they don't forget, like 2 weeks before that, they beat the Vikings in Minnesota with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen was on the verge of beating the Texans, man. Like, they were about to beat them. The Bills were winning. The Bills scored a late touchdown with Josh Allen. The Bills were winning, and he fucking got hurt. And I'll give credit. Nate Peterman did throw a touchdown pass in that game. Basically, Josh Allen was leading in the victory. He made play after play, and he led him down the field, and he got hurt when they were on, like, the 8-yard line or something. Nate Peterman came in and threw a touchdown on, like, the first pass. And I was like, oh, my God, fuck, I can't. To Zay Jones, actually. I was like, wow. I was like, Peterman fucking threw a touchdown. Good. We're not going to screw. No way we lose now. And lo and behold, fucking, he threw the pick six after. He threw the pick six. And then, dude, he did it again. Like, he nearly threw another pick six. Like, after the pick six, he nearly did it again. Buddy on Houston dropped it. It would have been another pick six. Or no, sorry, got intercepted and he ran it back, but we tackled him.
Yep.
He nearly blew the cover. It went from like a certain outright win to, all right, they're going to cover, to, oh my God, fuck. He just threw another interception. And
It was
like,
dropped.
oh, yeah, it was a train wreck, bro. He gave the game away. Like that was the one where, like the San Diego game last year, the LA game, whatever it was, the Charger game last year, the players on the team felt bad for him. Like he got thrown in there. There was 3 tip balls. It really, like, he got set up kind of, and he wasn't as bad as it made out to be with the 5 picks. But that Houston game is when like players like lost it after and fucking told McDermott, you can't play this guy. Like, you know.
And then he played again against the Chicago Bears at home after that, and it was
Played
just
again
as
against
bad,
the Bears. That was the rock bottom one.
That was awful. That was.
That was the one when even McDermott was like, all right, like, this is it. Like,
That's enough. And that's when they got Matt Barkley on the phone and called him in. Yeah.
Yeah. And they go think about that, but man, look how bad they looked against the Bears. It was embarrassment. It was like the worst game in the history of like the Bills organization almost. And then they played the Jets the next week. And even me, I gave up on them. I was like, I'm not going to see this team. Like,
no.
You know, I thought Nate Peterman was playing, right? Barkley was a last second like start. And they were going to start Peterman actually. And the team revolted. And like basically told McDermott, you can't do this. Like you can't do this. And he was like, he reluctantly did, and then they let him go after. But
that's when you know your quarterback's performance is a steaming turd, when the players basically protest and that we will not play with that guy as our starting quarterback. We will not have it.
Well, the thing is, they like him too, right? It's not like Nate Peterman's a bad kid. They like him. But you know, thing is, McDermott is a jerk to everybody. Not a jerk, but he's very like everybody has to be accountable all the time for everything. And they were like, you know, you got rid of this guy, you got rid of that guy, yet you keep starting this guy. Like, I guess like the captains on the team had a meeting with the coach and basically told him, you're losing the room. Like, if you keep throwing Peterman out here, like, you're losing the room. People think you don't know what the fuck's going on because you keep starting this guy. So they didn't have a choice there.
No, they had.
So before we get you out of here, we'll hit more NFL on the show. What's your quick take on that Army Navy game?
Oh, Saturday, yeah, college football. Look, Army, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. Army is a better football team this year than Navy. There's no question about that. It's been a tough year for Coach Ken Niumatalolo and his midshipmen. I mean, their defense has been just atrocious all season. Their offense has struggled, especially early on. I will give them credit for one thing. They went back to Zach Abey at quarterback late in the season. After Malcolm Perry had been the quarterback, they started to put some points up on the board down the stretch. Can they do it here against Army? That remains to be seen. Army's the much better team defensively, much better. You look at all the numbers: passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, yards per carry allowed. Of course, the rushing numbers most important here with 2 triple option teams, but Army much better defensive numbers. I don't know if I want to lay 7 though, Gabe, because I lean Army. I would only take Army, but 7 points or less, I think, the last 4 meetings. They've all been close. Army's won the last 2. I'm kind of interested in this game going over the total. This is the lowest Army-Navy total since, I believe, 2009, where it's been in the low 50s. We've had a lot in the high 40s, mid 40s. This is like at 40, 39.5 here with this total. This is as low as I've ever seen it with the total. And I understand both teams churn the clock. I understand both teams.
Under last 10.
It is, but this is rock bottom bargain basement value to the over. I think at this point, I think it's just it's gotten a little too low. The bottom's fallen out now, and I think you can look over the total.
I like your style, contrarian. It's a low number.
It's very low. I mean, it's
like the night in the NFL game. 37.5 is unheard of in today's modern NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking back at the recent Army-Navy games. You've had 51, 50.5, 49, 48.5. They've gradually gone lower and lower with the totals. We had a 45 once, 47. This is 40 now. I mean, to me, it's
about it. The only thing that gets me about it is,
you just got to hope, by the way, these 2 teams in the red zone, Gabe, do something, because they're not kicking field goals. They're going to be a lot of 4th down gambles to prolong drives. You know, you just got to hope you can punch in some touchdowns, because there's not going to be many field goals in this game.
I remember when, I remember, I was just saying earlier this year, but you know, man, every time military academies play each other, it goes under. And it's like literally, I think it's like 29-5 type thing the last 34 times. It's over the top, like how much it goes under. And I know this stat. So anyways, this year it was Army went to Air Force, I think it was. Or it was Navy went to Air Force, whatever the hell it was. And I was Navy and Air Force. And same thing, dude. You and I talked about it. I remember talking about it with you. We talked about that game. Remember, it opened up at like 46.5, 47. It actually was bet down to 41 or 40.
Yep.
It still stayed under. And I didn't bet it because I remember we were like, there's no value anymore. You can't bet it now at 40. You know, and I was like, that's just so low. It's hard to bet it. And it bothered me all day. I remember watching the game and I was like, fuck, man, it stayed under. And it stuck with me all year. I'm still upset about that game. It reminds me of it this week where it's like, man, it feels like a trap. I'm going to take the under in this game, and both teams are going to go up and down the field. But look, it's 10-0 to the under in the last 10. I got to ride this under wave.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny that number, 10-0 to the under, but this is the lowest total of all those 10 unders. The last 10 games that went under. And it's not just a little bit lower, it's a lot.
Didn't go over this number even, though. I went over it today. There's like one game in the last 7 years got to 46. Like, they really do top out in the 30s, basically. It's a lot of 16-13s and high 20s and low 30s.
And I will say this, Army's offense is about as explosive as it's been during those last 10
right.
games.
This is the
Navy's defense.
The best Army teams that we've had in the rivalry.
And it's probably the worst Navy defense in probably
that too.
These 10 games. Yeah. Like, this Navy defense was giving up 30 points a game, almost every game, every week this season. So, but again, neither team's going to play with pace or tempo. That's just the way it is. Neither team is going to kick many field goals. But it's 4th and 2, Gabe, from the 28-yard line. They're not kicking a field goal. They're going for it. Exactly. They're not kicking a field goal. So, you got to hope for some red zone execution. You got to hope there's efficiency. You got to hope that the teams, punch in some touchdowns, because, again, 4th down and 2 at the 6-yard line. Even then, you may not see them kick a field goal. They may go for a first down or a touchdown. So that's the only thing you got to worry yourself with in this game, and the lack of tempo. But I'm going to take my chance. Like, again, the Army-Navy game is never a game I have a big bet on. It's never something I usually send to clients of mine. It's just I'll bet it small a little bit on the over, and maybe a little on Army too.
Well, I unfortunately have had big plays on this game.
Of course. Didn't doubt that for a second.
Like you said, it's the worst, bro, sweating it out too. Like, because it's erratic. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, God bless these guys. They're tough kids, man. But sometimes, like, they throw passes, and it's like, oh, my God, dude. Like, how did you not complete that? But like you said, this Army, I mean, honestly, this is the best Army football team of my lifetime. Like, Army have never been this good. I think Army in the top 25, dude. I think they're ranked 24th. Like, Army are never this good. Like, Army have been good for the last couple of years, but they're really good now, Army. Like, dude, they took fucking Oklahoma to overtime.
Now, remember that? How close was Oklahoma to not even being part of the college football playoff discussion at all? If that game ends a little bit differently.
Think about that. Like, Army went to overtime with Oklahoma. Like, these guys can play. Like, they're a load to deal with.
By the way,
Sam Garnes, who's he's a longtime NFL player, he's a coach of the Broncos. He was in studio with us earlier this year. And when we talked about it in the military academy game, he even said it. He said he hated it. He said that they hate fucking playing. Like, if you're a non-military school playing against a military school, it sucks. He said just basically because they run every play. You can't take any plays off. In these other games, man, they spread offense and shit. If let's say, dude, you're on the left side of the field, Kyler Murray snaps the ball. He gets rid of it so quickly. It's on the right side. Like, you're not balls deep every play. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not involved in the play every play. But in the Army-Navy shit, you are when you play these teams, because the coaches, everyone, you crowd the box. So basically, you don't have a choice. You have to tackle. You got to wrap up. You got these fucking military kids running at you. They don't quit for 60 minutes. And they run play after play after play. And, you know, it wears other teams out. They don't like it. And,
well, they got to be locked in mentally. It's a mental test as much as it's a physical.
Oh, it
test.
really is.
Yep, no question about it. It tests your ability to be tough, focus on the task at hand, focus on your assignment football, as they always say when you play these triple option offenses.
These guys know each other's system. They run the same system. So, like, it's like a slight variation, obviously, but they know each other's system. And like you said, Navy's defense is bad, but it's different when they're playing against Army, where they hate them and they know what they're going to do. Like no one's surprising anybody in this game, right? There might be one surprise pass when there's always a trick play, like a fake punt. Like they're usually one trick play in the game, but I think Army's going to beat them again. Look, Navy won 14 straight years in a row, and Army's won the last 2 years, which is unheard of. I don't think Army's ever won 3 years in a row. So I think they will. I think they're going to beat them down again. I think the Army to the teaser to the under, the guys in the chat are talking about. I like that. Me and Cam talked about that teaser earlier in the week. Army to the under.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get the under, what's I put the under at, or to the total at 47? That's a lot better. Yeah, that's much more doable with the under at that number.
Army pick them under 47.
Yeah. I just have a vision in my mind this game's going to land 44-45. That's why I kind of like it over at 44. I could see us getting 24-20 or something like that. I could see it this time around because I think this is the best Army offense in the last 10 years in this series and the worst Navy defense in the last 10 years in this series. And we did see Navy's offense perk up a bit the last 3 games when Zach Abey took over again at the quarterback spot.
Man, I might lose every bet I make tonight, Babano. This Gonzaga game is low scoring. The Laker game is off the pace. Like, holy shit. Fuck.
I think I was close in college. I think I won 1 or 2 in college out of like 8, so wasn't much better for me in the college basketball anyway.
Oh, fuck, man. I'm in fucking shock here. Fuck. You know what? I was thinking, too, to take Hartford against Duke getting 37.5. I see they lost by 30 on it.
There's not really any value on Duke. There's none, 0 at all. I mean, find other things to do other than bet on
Duke. It's a good point. You bet against them because they're just insanely fucking favored.
Exactly, especially in those games where they don't give 2 shits about a 40-point win or a 30-point win.
If you want, we'll say goodbye in a second, but if you want any closing thoughts or what games, anything you want to get off your chest here?
Yeah, one last thing. By the way, early bowl games, we'll talk bowls next week, but college football bowl games, we'll start breaking them down next week. I'm already looking at UAB long and hard against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois just doesn't win bowl games, period. They're 0-5 straight up and against the spread in bowl games under their current head coach, Rod Carey. So I know, give them credit for beating Buffalo, although Buffalo sort of coughed that one up in the MAC championship game. But Northern Illinois is a terrible bowl team, and their track record under this coach is miserable in bowl games. And UAB's, you would think on paper, is fired up to be in that bowl game, Boca Raton Bowl. Great renaissance for football program there the last 2 years. I think UAB, they're only laying 2 in that game. They'll beat Northern Illinois. And I was looking at something, good article about how the college football playoff would look with 8 teams instead of 4. And it makes you wonder, why the hell are we wasting time doing a 4-team playoff? Because you look at what it would have been this year with an 8-team college football playoff tournament instead of 4 teams, and they do a seeding of 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, etc. You would have had 4 quarterfinals in the college football playoff. You would have had Alabama, the 1 seed, against Central Florida, the 8 seed. That's pretty interesting. I'd want to see that. Obviously, Central Florida's probably not winning, probably in tough, but I'd still want to see that. Alabama and Central Florida, especially when you consider Central Florida last year called themselves the pseudo national champions for being undefeated, and they had that little party talking about how they had an undefeated season. They felt they could have been national champions. So you have Alabama. You would have had Alabama versus UCF, 1 versus 8. You would have had Clemson at number 2 versus Michigan at number 7. That's pretty interesting. That would be a pretty good game to watch. You'd have number 3 Notre Dame versus number 6 Georgia. Pretty good game. And then you'd have number 4 Oklahoma versus number 5 Ohio State. That's what you'd be dealing with in your 4 quarterfinal matchups if the college football playoff this year were 8 teams instead of 4. Like, let's do it already. I mean, I like I say, I think 4 is not enough, especially in a year like this where there was controversy about, Georgia being in because they played the tougher schedule, even though they had 2 losses. They were 2 very, very good losses, that they were still a better team with a tougher schedule than the likes of Oklahoma or Ohio State. So, it's absolutely amazing that, you're looking at a situation where all those points would be moot, So to me, get to 8 teams, Yeah, I'd be a lot more interested in that. So Drusilla disagrees. That's all right. This is a year where 8 teams I think would have been good. 16, 16 I wouldn't argue with. I think 16 you're getting a little too much at that point, but 8 for sure. I can live with 8. In fact, 8 to me is the ideal number. I think 16 maybe a bit too much. I think 4 is too little. Give me an 8-team playoff, 4 quarterfinals, 2 semis, and a final. Make a little 2 or 3 week thing out of it. It's beautiful. I think it would be perfect there. But see, I would, even if Central Florida, Drew, gets their teeth kicked in against Alabama, I'd want to see it. Because you have UCF causing this stink, and we'd never get a chance to play Alabama. Well, here's your chance. Do something with it. But it's fascinating debate for sure. But I think 8 teams, like I said, would be ideal. 16. See, Mike Leach wants 16. Mike Leach has been crying for 16 teams in a college football playoff, but I think that's
6.
Yeah.
6.
6, yeah.
Like Ohio State should be in, and put Washington in. Do you know what I mean? So you've got your 5 power conferences. They're all in, and then the 1 wild card. So it's either UCF or Georgia or like whoever. And I would leave Georgia out. So I would just make I would give like the best to the UCF, Boise's, you know what I mean? The second tier, right? The non-power 5s.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a push right now to have their own playoff, actually. They're getting tired of this bullshit about getting left out.
Oh, the group of 5 wants their own like little mini playoff.
Yeah, exactly. So they're saying, UAB versus UCF and, App State versus fucking whatever. And
problem is you won't get a TV deal, and problem is you won't get and NCAA is not interested because the money's not going to be there for it.
You get a TV deal, but I'll be honest. I heard what you were saying, and they're all good games. It's interesting debate, and college football loves that, but it would just end up with the same teams anyways, bro. It would end up with the same thing. Like, Clemson would beat Michigan, right? Like, we don't have a beef. We would lose. You know what I mean? Like, the best teams are in. That's the one thing with college football. They get it right. Like, they really do. We can criticize them all we want and say, this and that, but ultimately they really generally get it right. Like the BCS, I remember people with a fucking computer. Are you kidding me? People were mad. They were like, fucking, you can't have a computer decide fucking this. The computer was never wrong, fuck. Like the BCS, like people look back on the BCS and they're like, damn, they pretty much got it right every year at the BCS. Like there was never really a beef. There was sometimes, this and that, but, there was never really anything major. And it's sort of the same thing with college basketball to me, because that's the beauty of college football. Every game counts. They've already bastardized it a bit, and it's already become where you can lose a few times depending on the scenario. And, and they have the best teams already. Like Georgia lost twice. I know it sucks. It's dramatic. They played with Alabama. They lost. And they also lost LSU. You know what I mean? They lost twice, right? Michigan lost twice. Like we don't have a beef. We lost twice. Ohio State has a beef. Like Ohio State's only lost once. And it's just because there's negativity around Urban Meyer. It's kind of unfair to the kids because they're a very good football team. Like Ohio State are better than Oklahoma are. But Oklahoma are in, Ohio State aren't. It's like this weird little, politics. And don't think for a second the Urban Meyer scandal didn't hurt them. And the NC and the committee, it's not the NCAA that decides this. There's this private football committee. And you know they don't like Meyer, and they're like, screw this guy, he's a fucking liar, and we don't need a negativity around the fucking playoff. That came into it for sure, right? So
not plus the Purdue loss was a really bad loss. They got
yeah,
blown
it was, but it was just one loss, dude. You know,
and by the way, this talk about the margin of victory.
And you're right. They only beat Maryland because Maryland missed a 2-point conversion.
But that's the thing, and that's my.
I know.
No, my point is they'll say the margin of victory is not really a big deal in our criteria. I say bullshit to that because they barely beat Maryland, they barely beat Nebraska. Don't think those close wins for Ohio State didn't penalize them a little bit.
But
no
you
question.
Know what I'm saying? Like the goalpost will always move. Like if we make it 6, then fucking the 8 team's gonna bitch, and then if we make it 16, then the 17th. Like I remember like the tournament, dude. Like the March Madness, they keep on, oh, let's have this play in and let's stretch it to this and let's make it this. And what happens? You still have teams crying. It's like, oh, we got left out. You know, this team got screwed. It's like, dude, you're the 69th team in the country. Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like maybe if you were like the 50th team, you'd get in. You know, like we're asking to be the top 69. We're not asking for a lot here, right? So college football, I think they get it right. I don't have a problem. I do believe, though, and I've said this, I really think they should go where everyone gets in. So like college basketball. You win your conference, you're in. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we let every conference in. You win the Sun Belt, you're not getting in the playoffs. But the Power 5 conferences, you're in. And then the other non-Power 5, the best team gets in, so you get your Cinderella story. Because that's the problem. Like college basketball and March Madness is more popular than college football playoffs are. They smash the ratings. It's not even comparable.
Well, yeah, March is huge.
Yeah, people love
March Madness, the Super Bowl.
Why? Because they love the Sister Jeans. They love the Valparaisos. They love the fucking Cinderella shit. They love the Maryland UMBCs beating Virginia. You know what I mean?
Loyola Chicago swept the entire country.
Yeah, like they love that stuff.
Last year, yeah.
Like college football doesn't allow that to happen. It's like they protect it. They're like, we don't want that. Like, it's like just throw Central Florida in, like you said. Like, you know, listen, guys, we can bitch about their schedule. These kids on the team didn't make the schedule. Number 2, the schedule was made like 5 years ago, so you can't hold it against them. Number 3, you're all scared to play them, so just fucking shut up and play them. Like, you know what I mean? Would anyone argue right now if that was the playoff? Clemson and Alabama both deserve a bye. They're clearly better than everyone. They're undefeated. You know, you give the 1-2 teams a bye. And then you have the other 4 teams play. So you'd have Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Ohio State, the Washington Huskies, and UCF. You know, and then you play on, and then you move on. And this way, you know, you don't screw, because it's not right that the winner of the Big Ten's not in. The Big Ten, you know, is the second best conference, if not like, you know, overall. It's right there. So, like, it's just ridiculous to me that if Ohio State is fucking 12-1 and wins the Big Ten, they're not getting in the playoffs. And I'm a Michigan fan, and I'm saying this. It's just the system's flawed. It's not, you know what I mean? I don't want 8. I don't want 12. I don't want 16. But there should be, if you win your conference, you're in.
Well, they could probably do something like, I'm trying to think how they would do it with first 4, and then there's how they break it up into a 16 playoff. But, yeah.
I just said how they fucking give a bye to the first 2 teams.
Okay, bye. That makes sense. That's the way you'd have to do it. Yep.
All right, Babano. So the clock is striking midnight. It's time to go.
Yep.
We go late again. We're giving people bonus time in week 1 here. But hey, we appreciate your time, Babano. Thanks for joining us, and we'll speak to you Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good on a Wednesday. First time on Patreon. First of many.
Thanks over at rightwager.com.
Absolutely. All right, Gabe. Good night, everybody. See you.
Thank you, Babano. All right. So, yeah, we got to get out of here. Time flew by. Fun time talking football with Babano. Thanks to Babano's Christmas tree. What's up, Pushy? So we appreciate everybody joining us here this evening. What up, Stooge? Yeah, we appreciate the people paying for the upper tier. It is less draining. All right, so we got to get out of here. But God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. We've got football tomorrow night, Jacksonville and Tennessee. And we'll be on with you for the football game tomorrow night. Another stack show of programming tomorrow. Other than that, you're on your own. I apologize for my shitty picks the last couple of days. Bad luck. You're seeing it. I mean, the Temple game. What is it? The Temple game, the Buffalo Bowl game. You fucking name it, man. Like, it's getting frustrating. But we'll pick it up. I'm going light. Go bet light in this stuff. I keep telling you guys, it's a weird time of the year in sports right now. But we'll hit the football. All right. Other than that, you're on your own later. Thanks, guys.